Merrick slammed his hand against the sparking control panel, sparks flying across his visor. The mining shuttle groaned, its hull rattling under the impact of falling debris. A sudden tremor shook the crater, throwing him off balance. The warning siren screamed in his ears, but then, a soft, strange cry cut through the chaos. It was faint, fragile, almost human, yet sharp and desperate. Merrick froze. He had heard warnings about moon wildlife before, but nothing like this. He ducked under a swinging piece of metal, his heart hammering. The cry came again, closer this time, rising in a tone that seemed almost intelligent. Merrick glanced around the rubble-strewn crater. Amid the smoke and falling rock, a pale shape shimmered faintly under the moon's dim light. Its wings were jagged, broken in several places, and a soft, glowing bioluminescence pulsed along its skin. Merrick's stomach twisted. That shouldn't exist. He didn't pause to think. With his mechanical toolkit slung over one shoulder, he darted across the debris. The creature, an albino dragon unlike anything in any manual or record, shivered as it struggled to crawl away. Merrick's hand shot out instinctively. "It's okay. I won't hurt you," he muttered, his voice firm but low. The dragon's violet eyes locked onto him, wide with fear and pain. A distant explosion rocked the crater. A chunk of rock hurtled toward the dragon. Without thinking, Merrick threw himself over the creature, using his body as a shield. Pain shot through his arm as debris grazed him, but he didn't flinch. He lifted the dragon with both arms, feeling the fragile weight of its shattered wings against his chest. It hissed and snapped at him reflexively, tiny claws scratching his arms. Merrick winced but held tight. The creature wasn't attacking, it was terrified. As he scrambled toward a safer part of the crater, the shadows shifted. Merrick froze, every muscle tensing. A massive, dark shape glided across the crater's edge. Its movements were deliberate, predatory. The dragon let out a high, terrified screech, wings flaring weakly. Merrick's breath hitched. He had only seconds to act. With no time to build a shelter, he grabbed a dangling cable from a nearby broken drone and swung the dragon toward a small rock overhang. They landed hard. Merrick rolled and landed on his back, groaning as the predator passed overhead, uninterested in him, for now. The dragon pressed its glowing head against his chest, shivering. Merrick's fingers traced the jagged tears along its wings. "You're alive," he whispered. "And I'm not leaving you." He felt a warmth spread through his chest. A small, fragile spark of trust. The dragon blinked, a soft hum vibrating through its chest, like a small heartbeat against his ribs. Merrick realized it was intelligent, aware, and maybe, just maybe, it understood him. But the predator wasn't gone. Its shadow flickered along the crater wall. Merrick's mind raced. The shuttle was useless, destroyed in the initial collapse. Supplies were limited, and the dragon's injuries were severe. He scanned the area and noticed a small, abandoned outpost in the distance, half buried in dust. It wasn't much, but it offered cover. With no time to waste, he grabbed the dragon carefully, improvised a sling with a cable, and started toward it. Each step was a struggle. Rocks slid under his boots, and sparks from the damaged drone hissed on the ground. The dragon whimpered, and Merrick whispered encouragements, his own voice trembling. Almost there. Just a little farther. He could feel the creature's pulse against him, erratic, fast, alive. If he slipped, if the predator struck again, they might not survive. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the crater. Merrick looked up in horror. The predator was back, larger and faster, circling above, its eyes glowing faintly like dark embers. It tilted its massive wings ready to dive. Merrick's grip tightened on the dragon. There was no turning back. He had made a choice, protect this creature or watch it die. His hands were scraped, blood mixing with dust, but determination burned brighter than fear. A flash of movement, he ducked instinctively. The predator's talons struck the ground where he had been seconds ago, throwing up clouds of dust. The dragon squealed in panic, but Merrick held firm. He whispered fiercely, "We'll get through this. You and me." The creature's glow pulsed stronger, almost in response, and Merrick felt an odd sense of connection, like it recognized the bond forming in that moment of danger. They reached the outpost just as the predator dived. Merrick yanked open the door, slamming it shut behind them. Dust and debris pounded against the walls. Inside, the small space was dark and silent, at least for now. Merrick set the dragon down gently, examining the damage. Its wings were shredded, almost useless. His stomach clenched. Healing this, even partially, would take every ounce of skill he had, and maybe more than that. Then a sudden, soft vibration from the floor beneath them made Merrick freeze. The outpost wasn't as empty as he thought. Something moved in the shadows, something alive. And in that instant, he realized the fight for the dragon's life was far from over. The pale glow of the creature's wings reflected in his eyes as he whispered, "I'll figure this out. I swear." Outside, the predator circled, waiting. Marek's heart pounded, but he refused to back down. Whatever this dragon was, whatever the predator wanted, he would face it. Together. And then, from the darkness of the outpost, a low, almost mechanical hum began. A sound that didn't belong to the crater, to the moon, or to any living thing Marek had ever known. The dragon twitched nervously. Marek's eyes widened. Something else was here. Something unexpected. The real danger, and the real mystery, was only just beginning. Marek pressed his back against the cold metal wall of the outpost, clutching the albino dragon, its small, fragile body trembling against him. Outside, the crater was alive with shadows and the low, ominous rumble of the predator circling overhead. Marek's mind raced. He had gotten them this far, but getting them out alive would be far harder. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to hide, to survive. But the dragon wasn't just fragile. It was alive, intelligent, and helpless without him. And he wouldn't leave it behind. The outpost was barely intact, a relic of an old mining operation, half buried in moon dust. Marek's eyes flicked over the console panels and broken wiring. Most of the systems were offline, but a few lights blinked weakly. He grabbed a toolkit from his belt and started improvising. Sparks flew as he rigged an old hover drone to function as a temporary shield and distraction. He could barely see it through the haze of dust, but the predator outside might just notice it, and that could give them a sliver of time. The dragon whimpered, pressing closer. Marek whispered, "Shoo, it's okay. I'm not leaving you. We'll get out." He could feel the rapid pulse of its wings against his arm. The glow was faint, almost fading, but still there, a heartbeat of hope in the darkness. Carefully he examined the damage. The wings were shredded in several places, almost useless, and the small creature's breathing was shallow. Marek knew every second counted. If it didn't recover soon, it wouldn't survive another attack. Outside, the predator's shadow shifted. Marek froze, listening. Its wings stirred, scraping against the crater wall. The sound was deliberate, almost thoughtful, like it was studying them. Marek's stomach nodded. This was no mindless beast. It was intelligent, dangerous, and patient. He had no choice but to act. He started moving, carrying the dragon through the debris-filled outpost toward a small storage bay. He scanned the area quickly. Loose metal plates, abandoned equipment, and half-collapsed walls offered cover. He could rig a barrier, maybe even a trap, to delay the predator. Every movement had to be precise. One mistake and they could both be dead. As he worked, he noticed the dragon's glow brightening slightly. A faint hum emitted from its chest, almost like it was trying to communicate. Marek felt a small surge of hope. "You're tougher than you look," he murmured, smiling despite the fear clawing at him. The dragon's eyes met his, and for a moment, it felt like they understood each other. That small connection gave Marek a spark of determination. They were in this together. The predator attacked without warning, smashing through a side wall. Marek yelped and spun, grabbing the dragon just in time as a metal beam crashed where it had been moments before. Dust and debris filled the air, making it hard to see. Marek ducked, shielding the dragon as pieces of the ceiling fell. His heart pounded. There was no chance of hiding now. The predator had found them. They had to move, and fast. He spotted a narrow passage leading deeper into the outpost, partially collapsed but passable. With careful effort, he maneuvered through, dragging the dragon with him. Its wings scraped against jagged rocks, but it didn't cry out. Marek whispered encouragements, his voice shaking. "Almost there. Keep going, we're almost safe." The creature's hum grew stronger, a small pulse of light traveling across its body. It was responding to him, and he realized that this fragile bond was their only real advantage. In the storage bay, Marek found some old cables and metal plates. He worked quickly, improvising a makeshift cage and a protective barrier around the dragon. It wasn't perfect, but it might hold long enough for them to regroup. As he tightened the last bolt, he noticed something that made his stomach twist. The walls of the outpost were not just metal. They were lined with strange, alien patterns, half buried and glowing faintly under the dragon's light. Marek leaned closer. These weren't just decorations, they were some kind of technology. And the glow matched the dragon's, almost as if it were connected. A flicker of fear passed through him. What had he stumbled into? The dragon's soft whine brought him back. Marek's mind raced. He could speculate all he wanted, but the priority was clear: get the creature safe or lose it forever. He began patching a small wound on the dragon's wing using scraps of metal and wiring. It wasn't a full fix, but every small movement mattered. The dragon's glow intensified slightly, and it stretched weakly as if testing its strength. Merrick felt a flicker of pride. They had survived the first attack and for now they were alive. But the predator wasn't finished. From the darkness outside, Merrick heard a deep, echoing hiss. Its patience was gone, it was hunting now, deliberate and focused. Merrick's pulse spiked. He glanced at the dragon, glowing faintly in his improvised cage. He had to make a choice, stay and fight or risk exposure to escape. Every second they stayed increased the danger, but the dragon couldn't move on its own. Merrick swallowed hard. Okay, he muttered, tightening his grip on a jagged piece of metal as a makeshift weapon. Time to see what we're really made of. He glanced at the dragon and it met his gaze, wings trembling but eyes sharp and alert. Together they would face whatever came next. A shadow loomed at the doorway. Merrick froze. The predator's massive form filled the opening, talons scraping the floor. Its eyes were fixed on the dragon. Merrick's heart pounded, but he didn't step back. Not now. Not when the creature's life depended on him. Then a low, mechanical hum began from the walls. The alien patterns flickered, responding to the dragon's glow. Merrick's eyes widened. Something inside the outpost was alive, and it wasn't human. The predator paused, ears twitching as if it sensed the shift. Merrick took a deep breath, feeling both fear and determination surge through him. The battle outside had only begun, and the mystery inside the outpost was far greater than he could imagine. One hand on the dragon, the other ready to fight or flee, he whispered, "Let's see what you can really do." And in that moment, the dragon's wings flickered with a pulse of energy, stronger than before. Merrick's heart leapt. Could it actually fly? Or was this just the calm before a far greater storm? The predator hissed again, louder this time, and Merrick knew, whatever happened next, nothing would be easy. Merrick pressed his back against the cold wall of the outpost, panting, the albino dragon trembling against him. Its faint glow pulsed in sync with its shallow breaths, small but steady, a fragile heartbeat in the darkness. Outside, the predator circled the crater again, its shadow stretching over the jagged rocks like a living nightmare. Merrick's mind raced. They had survived the initial attacks, but he knew that wasn't luck. They were being tested. And this dragon, fragile as it was, held more secrets than he could guess. The dragon let out a soft, almost musical hum, and Merrick leaned closer. Its eyes seemed to flicker with recognition, and for a brief moment he felt it was trying to communicate. Then his gaze fell on the walls of the outpost, those strange half-buried alien patterns he had noticed earlier. They weren't mere decorations. The faint glow matched the dragon's light. Merrick knelt, brushing away layers of dust and moon grit. The designs were intricate, almost alive, pulsing softly in time with the creature's wings. A sudden spark leapt from the exposed wiring near the doorway, and Merrick jumped back, heart pounding. The predator's hiss echoed from outside. Merrick's fingers clenched and he realized something shocking. The dragon wasn't just injured, it was connected to this outpost. Somehow, its biology, its wings, even its glow were linked to the alien tech surrounding them. His mind raced. Could this creature be engineered? Or had it been born naturally but adapted to the outpost's energy? The implications made his stomach tighten. He shook off the thoughts. Right now, the dragon needed action, not speculation. Merrick carefully spread the dragon's wings, examining the shredded membranes. The tears were severe, almost total, but his mechanical instincts kicked in. Pieces of the old drone lying in the corner could be repurposed. Tiny energy conduits, flexible metal rods, even fractured servomotors. If he could rig them together, maybe, just maybe, he could give the wings partial function. Merrick's hands moved quickly, improvising, welding small pieces, connecting them to the faint glow of the dragon's own bioluminescence. As he worked, a new sound caught his attention, a low, deliberate tapping from deeper inside the outpost. Merrick froze, his heart hammering. The predator was outside, but this was different. Something else moved within the shadows, something alive. He glanced at the dragon, whose glowing eyes were fixed on the darkness, body tense and alert. Merrick swallowed. Whatever was inside, it wasn't the predator. And it wasn't human. The dragon let out a sharp, warning hiss. Merrick's stomach sank. He had no choice but to continue his work while staying alert. Sweat dripped into his eyes as he connected the last piece of the makeshift wing. The conduits sparked faintly, humming in time with the dragon's natural glow. He held his breath. Come on, you can do this. The dragon twitched. A weak pulse of energy ran along its wings. Merrick's heart leapt. It wasn't flying yet, but it was responding. Suddenly, the predator's roar shattered the moment, a deafening sound of claws scraping metal outside. Merrick ducked, shielding the dragon. The ground shook with its weight and dust fell from the ceiling. But then something unexpected happened. The predator hesitated. Its eyes, glowing faintly red, focused not on Merrick, not on the dragon's wings, but on the faint pulsing of the outpost walls. Marek's head snapped toward the alien patterns. The dragon's glow flared brighter, and the conduits in the wings responded. The predator's talons scraped in confusion, and for the first time, it seemed cautious. Marek's mind clicked. The predator wasn't mindless. It was intelligent, observing, and maybe even recognizing the connection between the dragon and the outpost tech. That meant the dragon wasn't alone in importance. Something bigger was at play. Merrick swallowed hard, a mix of fear and determination surging through him. He had been dragged into a story far larger than a single-stranded creature. And somehow he was part of it. He focused back on the dragon. Just a little more, he murmured, adjusting a small energy relay. The dragon quivered, wings vibrating faintly. Then, almost imperceptibly, the tips lifted off the floor. Marek's eyes widened. A tiny, controlled flap. It was enough to make him grin through the fear. A small payoff, a first spark of hope in the chaos. The dragon wasn't just a helpless creature anymore. It was beginning to fight back in its own way. But there was no time to celebrate. A metallic scrape echoed from the shadows, and Marek's head snapped toward the movement. The outpost walls shimmered faintly as if reacting to the dragon's glow. Something was alive, hidden. Marek's mind raced. Could it be more of the same species? Or something entirely alien? Before he could process, the floor beneath him vibrated, a controlled pulse, synchronized with the dragon's wings. The hidden mechanism seemed aware, reacting to the creature. Merrick froze. He realized that the dragon's wings weren't just damaged, they were keys. And the predator outside wasn't the only threat. The outpost itself was a puzzle, a machine waiting for the right sequence. His hands trembled with a mix of fear and excitement. He had to figure this out, and fast. One wrong move could destroy them both, or worse. The dragon chirped softly, almost as if urging him forward. Merrick leaned in, following the subtle pulse of light running from its wings to the wall conduits. He connected a loose wire to a junction box. Sparks flared. The dragon flinched, but the wings lifted higher. Another small flap. The predator hissed outside, its shadow now pacing, waiting for any weakness. Merrick gritted his teeth. They weren't safe yet, but they had made progress. Then, without warning, a hidden panel in the wall slid open with a hiss. From the darkness, a strange, bioluminescent object emerged, hovering in the air. Its glow matched the dragon's perfectly, almost as if it had been waiting for this moment. The predator froze. The dragon's wings flared. Marek's pulse raced. The tiny object floated closer, spinning slowly, revealing delicate, mechanical appendages that mirrored the dragon's broken wings. Marek's jaw dropped. This was no ordinary dragon. And the predator wasn't just hunting, it was observing. The truth was bigger than he imagined, and the stakes had just doubled. He gripped the dragon tightly, whispering, "We're in this together. No matter what comes next." The dragon's wings shimmered brighter, responding to his words and touch. Outside, the predator's hiss deepened, but it didn't strike. Something inside the outpost had changed the rules. And in that moment, Merrick realized the dragon's fate, and his own, was tied to something far greater than survival. Something far more dangerous. A low hum filled the outpost, growing louder. Marek's eyes darted around, heart pounding. Whatever was coming next, it wasn't just the predator. The mystery and the real test was only beginning. Marek's hands shook as he tightened the last energy conduit along the albino dragon's fragile wings. The outpost hummed around them, alive in a way he couldn't fully understand. Sparks danced along the cracked walls, pulsing in time with the dragon's own bioluminescent glow. Outside, the predator's shadow stretched over the crater floor, massive and deliberate. Merrick could hear its claws scraping against rock, feel the pressure of its presence, but he refused to look away from the dragon. "Come on, little one," he whispered, voice tight with tension. "You've come this far. Now fly." The dragon twitched violently, wings trembling. Merrick gritted his teeth, adjusting a loose servo on the wing's edge. Another tremor from the predator shook the outpost. Dust rained from the ceiling, and a chunk of debris clattered dangerously close. Merrick shoved it aside, protecting the dragon. Every second counted. One wrong move and the predator would strike, and this time there might be no chance to recover. A faint vibration pulsed through the floor. Merrick froze. The hidden alien machinery in the walls, he could feel it responding to the dragon's glow. It was alive, watching, ready. His heart pounded. He realized that the dragon wasn't just injured. Its wings weren't just broken. They were keys, and if he could get them working, it could activate something inside the outpost. Something powerful. The predator's hiss split the air, closer this time. Marek's head snapped toward the doorway. Its eyes glowed a deep red, fixed on the dragon. It crouched low, wings spread, ready to strike. Marek's pulse surged. There was no more hesitation. He had to act now or never. Gripping a piece of scrap metal like a lever, Merrick slammed it into the nearest power junction. Sparks flew and the dragon twitched violently. Its glow flared, brighter than before. A pulse of energy shot through the wings, lifting them slightly. Marek's breath caught. One small flap. Then another. The dragon's wings lifted more, shimmering with raw energy. The predator lunged, but Merrick was ready. He slammed a second connection into the wall's alien panel. A bright pulse of light erupted, creating a barrier of energy between them and the predator. It hissed in frustration, claws scraping the metal floor, but the energy pulse held. Marek's heart raced. This was their chance. Now fly, he shouted, voice hoarse, and pushed the dragon gently from his chest. For a terrifying moment, it faltered, wings weak, brushing against the floor. Then, as if sensing Marek's resolve, it flapped harder. Energy surged through the patched wings, arcs of light trailing behind them. The dragon lifted, hovering a few feet above the floor. Marek's breath caught in awe and fear. It wasn't full flight yet, but it was alive, responding, and stronger than he had hoped. The predator shrieked, louder this time, and hurled itself at the dragon. Marek's stomach dropped. He couldn't let it strike. He grabbed a nearby tool chest, swinging it like a shield, and slammed it into the predator's path. Metal clanged, sparks flew, and for a brief moment the predator recoiled, giving the dragon a second to rise higher. The outpost walls pulsed brighter. Merrick realized the dragon's wings were syncing with the alien machinery. Every flap, every twitch of energy triggered responses from the hidden tech. It was as if the dragon was drawing power from the outpost itself. The predator hissed again, but its movements became cautious. It wasn't expecting this. Marek's mind raced. He had one shot to give the dragon full control. He scavenged a long, flexible conduit from a broken drone and attached it along the dragon's spine, connecting it to the glowing alien panels. Sparks shot out, licking the walls, and the dragon's glow flared blindingly. Merrick held his breath as the creature hovered, trembling but alive, wings fully extended. Then, with a sudden surge, the dragon shot upward, striking the predator midair with a pulse of energy from its wings. The predator yelped, claws scraping uselessly against the energy shield, and spiraled back, stunned. Marek's chest heaved. He had done it. Against impossible odds, the dragon was alive, empowered, and for the first time capable of defending itself. He sank to the floor, exhausted, the adrenaline coursing through his veins. The dragon hovered near him, glowing softly, wings flaring like a halo of light. Merrick reached out and it pressed its head against his hand. A small, victorious hum vibrated through his chest. But just as relief began to settle, a new sound split the air, a soft, mechanical chittering, like dozens of tiny limbs moving in unison. Marek's eyes widened. The walls of the outpost, the very panels he had connected the dragon to, began to shift. Sections of the floor and ceiling slid open, revealing dozens of small, hovering devices, each glowing with the same light as the dragon's wings. The predator hissed again, retreating slightly, but Marek's focus was on the swarm. The devices hovered in a perfect formation, almost intelligent, scanning the dragon and him. Marek's heart sank. He had empowered the dragon, yes, but now they were drawing attention from something far larger and far more complex than he had imagined. The dragon's glow pulsed faster, wings flaring as it instinctively prepared to defend Merrick. Merrick swallowed hard. The predator outside was one threat. The alien tech inside the outpost was another. And somehow they were all connected. He glanced at the dragon, now circling him protectively. Marek's jaw tightened. We've come this far. We're not stopping now. The dragon flared, brighter than ever, a beacon of courage and determination in the dim outpost. Then the largest panel slid fully open, revealing a shadowy figure, tall, sleek, and mechanical, yet undeniably alive. Its eyes locked on the dragon. Marek's breath caught. It was watching, analyzing, and waiting. The predator hissed from outside as if understanding the new hierarchy. Merrick realized they were surrounded, but he refused to panic. He stood, gripping a metal rod, staring at the mechanical being. The dragon hovered beside him, wings flaring like swords of light. Merrick felt fear, yes, but also determination. They had survived this long together. They had fought against impossible odds and won. And now whatever came next he would face it. The shadowy figure tilted its head slowly, humming a low, resonant tone that made the dragon flare brighter still. Merrick swallowed hard. He knew this was far from over. This outpost, the dragon, the predator, it was all part of something larger, something he couldn't yet understand. And as the humming grew louder, Merrick whispered, "All right. Let's see what this really is." The dragon's wings flared violently, throwing arcs of glowing energy across the walls. Outside, the predator roared, claws scratching at the outpost once more. Merrick's pulse surged. The next move would determine everything. The storm wasn't over. It was only just beginning. Merrick's arms ached from the adrenaline, but he didn't lower his guard. The albino dragon hovered beside him, wings fully extended, glowing with a radiant light that filled the outpost. The humming from the alien devices grew louder, but now it didn't feel threatening. It felt alive, almost welcoming. Merrick studied the panels as the dragon flapped gently, and for the first time he realized the wings weren't just repaired, they were amplified, connected to something far greater than him, or even the predator outside. The predator circled, talons scraping the crater's jagged surface, its shadow a dark blur against the moon's surface. Merrick's pulse raced, but he refused to back down. The creature outside wasn't just dangerous, it was a test, and they had passed. He glanced at the dragon, whose violet eyes met his with trust and recognition. "You can do it," he whispered. "I've got your back. Always." The dragon's chest pulsed, brighter and faster, almost like a heartbeat syncing with his own. Merrick took a deep breath and stepped forward. He lifted his hand, guiding the dragon toward the open panel where the mechanical figure had emerged. The devices hovered in perfect formation around them, responding to the dragon's glow. Merrick's mind raced. He didn't fully understand this technology, but instinct told him to let the dragon lead. If it had survived this far, it could handle whatever came next. The dragon hesitated for a moment, wings quivering. Then, with a sudden surge, it flapped powerfully, sending arcs of light across the outpost. The mechanical figure recoiled slightly, but Merrick noticed something remarkable. The dragon's glow seemed to communicate with it. The devices stopped moving, hovering silently as if acknowledging the dragon's presence. Merrick's jaw dropped. Somehow the creature had asserted its dominance, not through aggression but through connection. Outside, the predator hissed in frustration. Merrick knew it was powerful, but now it seemed cautious. The dragon dipped slightly, eyes locking on the predator, then rose higher, wings glowing like beacons. Merrick's chest tightened with pride and relief. They had survived the impossible. The predator's screech faded as it retreated into the shadows of the crater, wings beating with a rhythm of reluctant respect. Merrick let out a breath he didn't realize he had been holding. The dragon hovered close, its small body glowing softly against the dim light of the outpost. Merrick reached out, fingers brushing the pulsing membrane of its wings. The warmth radiated through him. They had survived, and the dragon's trust in him was absolute. A small, victorious hum echoed through the room, a payoff moment Merrick savored, knowing that every risk, every reckless decision had been worth it. But the outpost wasn't quiet for long. The alien devices shifted subtly, patterns glowing along the walls, then coalescing into a single large, circular panel at the center. Merrick stepped closer, curiosity overcoming exhaustion. The dragon followed, wings flaring slightly as if guiding him. The panel pulsed once, twice, then opened to reveal a small chamber filled with glowing, intricate machinery. At its center, a sphere hovered, radiating the same energy as the dragon's wings. Merrick's eyes widened. "Is this connected to you?" he whispered, unsure if he spoke aloud or to the dragon. The creature's wings fluttered in response. Merrick felt a thrill of realization. Lumen, the dragon, was not an accident. It was designed to interface with this technology, to unlock something greater. His courage, his skill, his determination had brought them here, to the center of a mystery that spanned far beyond the crater. Merrick knelt beside the sphere, tracing the glowing symbols with his fingers. A sudden pulse of energy surged through him, not painful but invigorating. He glanced at Lumen. The dragon flapped once, wings slicing through the light, and the sphere responded, sending ripples of energy across the room. Merrick grinned despite himself. He had faced impossible odds, navigated deadly predators, and now the dragon and he had unlocked something remarkable, something that hinted at the secrets of this ancient moon. Outside, the crater was quiet, the predator gone. Merrick allowed himself a moment to breathe, feeling the weight of relief and pride. He had protected the dragon, restored its wings, and survived against threats no one else would dare face. Humanity, he realized, wasn't just about survival, it was about courage, compassion, and ingenuity. Against impossible odds they had prevailed. Then as he stood, Lumen circled him once more, wings glowing brightly. Merrick noticed movement in the distance, a faint shimmer along the horizon. Dozens of silhouettes, larger and darker than the predator, were approaching. Their forms were biomechanical like the dragon but bigger, more organized, more deliberate. Merrick's pulse spiked. Lumen's wings flared instinctively, energy surging in preparation. "They've noticed you," Merrick whispered. His heart raced with fear and excitement. The adventure wasn't over, not even close. Whatever had created Lumen, whatever the predator had been testing, it was only the beginning. And now Merrick realized he was part of it. He looked down at the dragon, whose glow pulsed brighter in anticipation. Merrick straightened, shoulders stiff with determination. "Then we face it," he said, voice steady. "Together." Lumen dipped slightly, then shot upward, circling Merrick as if ready to protect him. The biomechanical silhouettes on the horizon moved closer, energy glinting in the moonlight. Merrick's heart pounded, but he didn't falter. The human in him, the courage, intelligence, and determination that had carried them this far, was ready for whatever came next. The outpost hummed, the alien sphere pulsing in response to the dragon's energy. Merrick realized something astonishing. They were not just surviving, they were activating a chain of events that could change everything. The predator had been only a test. The dragon's wings, the alien tech, and now these approaching silhouettes hinted at a much larger world waiting beyond the crater. He glanced at Lumen one last time, wings glowing and flaring. The bond between them was undeniable. Merrick knew that his courage had given this creature a chance at life, and that together, they would face the greater mysteries looming on the horizon. And with a final low hum of energy echoing through the outpost, Merrick whispered, "Let's see what's out there." The dragon flared, wings slicing through the light, and Merrick braced himself. Beyond the crater, the new challenge awaited, and their story was only beginning.